Hey everyone, it's Ali. I hope you're having a great day so far and you're staying warm and being safe. And I know it's a bit of an Arctic plunge out there, but it is February in Calgary and that's kind of what we should be expecting. I just wanted to hop on here real quick and talk about the market. We've had a little bit of an interesting time this month, but being grateful there is no tariffs yet. But we're going to assume that those are kind of going to be pushed along for a little bit here and just talk about how the market has been in January so far, and kind of what we can look forward to as an economy in Alberta, and how we're kind of seeing the market going forward. So let's just jump in right into it. So the absorption rate for the month of January was 38%. Now, if you follow my videos, you'll notice that when I talk about absorption rate, I'm talking about the number of sales divided by the number of listings that are available on the market at that given time. So we are at 38%. So what that means is that we are in a balanced market. Anything lower than 30% would be considered a buyer's market. Anything over 60%, I feel like, would be considered a seller's market. So we're kind of on that brink of a buyer's market at this point, but we have been in this state for the last 4 months, more than that actually, since September. We've been in this balanced market. So how does that kind of relate? Into what's going on today with the market and the number of listings and things like that. So the number of listings has increased from the same time last year by about 66%. So we have a lot more inventory on the market right now, which is driving a lot of these drops in activity, because if you have way more listings and not an increase in sales, that's what kind of that's how the ratio works, right? So we've had an increase of about 66% in the number of listings. We've had a drop of about 12% in the number of sales that have happened. And our absorption rate has dropped from January of 2024 till January 2025, about 34%. So we were sitting at a 71% absorption rate in January last year, which is a strong seller's market. And now we're sitting at 46% in January 2025. And a lot of that is relating to the amount of inventory that's coming onto the market, and the seller appetite has shrunk a little bit going forward here. In terms of pricing, we are seeing a little bit of an increase month over month in the median pricing across all the segments. It's about a 1 to 2% increase in detached, attached, and townhouses. However, in the apartment sector, we are seeing a bit of a drop in price from the month before, about 1%. So not too much, but it's still kind of lingering compared to the other segments here. Compared to where we were last year at this same time, our pricing is about, it depends what segment you're looking at, 1% in the detached segment. It's down about 3% in the attached segment. It's up about 4% in the townhouses, and it's about up 1% in the apartments. So a lot of a mixed bag of depending what segment you're in, but you can kind of see that, the last time we saw apartments at this price point, which is about 311,000 as a median price right now, we saw that in January of last year, which is 308. The last time we saw the detached, attached, and townhouses be in these price points, which are 698,000 and some change, 589,000 and some change, and $450,000 and some change. For those three segments, that's very similar to where we were in September of last year. So you can see the apartments are starting to get a little bit hit more than the other segments are. Now, how does this kind of relate to the market going forward? Well, Alberta's in a really good place, barring tariffs. I mean, we had a record year of barrel production. About 1.5 billion barrels of oil was produced last year in Alberta. They're expecting it to grow about 2.5%, again, barring tariffs in 2025. And a lot of that is kind of coming from the Trans Mountain Pipeline, which, has basically increased our production to Asia. It went from next to nothing to about 4% of our exports now, which is fantastic. And the capital expenditure from the oil and gas sector is expected to be about a 4.2% increase in 2025. So what does that all kind of mean when it comes to housing? Well, if that economy is running, oil and gas is doing well, agriculture to some degree, crops and things like that are having a bit of a hard time, but livestock is also increasing in price, and the demand is also increasing for that also. So a couple of our industries are growing and getting better. And what that means is we are still a viable option for people that are migrating from other provinces to Alberta. Now, they might see our minus 30-degree Arctic cold here and might be deferred a little bit, but for the most part, if they're looking for something that's a little bit more affordable to move to, the economy is supportive of new jobs and things like that. This is a place for people to want to move to. Now, barring tariffs, um, if the rest of the country is getting 25% tariffs, but oil and gas is only getting 10%, you can see how they're in a little bit of a better situation than the rest of Canada and the rest of the industries in Canada that we have, right? So that would only add to the incentive for people to move here and want to be a part of that economy, right? So regardless of kind of how this kind of goes, the big part that we want to keep an eye on right now is the next 2 or 3 months in the market, because if we see a spike in the market because of the spring market, if that's a 2 month increase and then we start to see a decline, well, we're going to be seeing a year similar to 2023. Whereas if we have a year like 2022 where that spring market lasted about 5 months, then we'll kind of see how, okay, our market is getting back together, it's becoming more robust, it's growing, and we'll see that kind of going from there. But regardless of how the market does in the spring here, you want to be able to be prepared before the spring market hits, regardless of how long it is. So I'm recommending to my sellers right now, let's start the conversations. Let's talk about renovations if there need to be there. If you have tenants, let's start speaking to them and seeing what their plans are in the spring if you are looking to sell, because you need to give them that time. And let's start working to figure out a plan to get your home on the market, because when that buyer sentiment increases in the spring, you want to be one of the homes that's ready to go for them at the beginning so that you can take advantage before the spring market dwindles away. I hope this update has been helpful for you. If you have any questions about anything that we're talking about here, please feel free to send a comment below, or you can send me a DM, or you can contact me by any one of the other social media platforms that we have here. Please feel free to reach out. I love talking about this stuff, and hopefully we'll talk soon. Thank you so much. Have a great day.